Hey everyone, welcome back to another Elden Ring video. I hope that everybody is having an absolutely fantastic day, and I hope that you guys are enjoying playing Elden Ring as well. But I hope that you guys don't mind that my roundtable hold is on fire. Sorry, didn't mean to spoil anything for you. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about some of the best arcane weapons that you guys can go ahead and pick up in Elden Ring, especially with the update that changed the arcane scaling to being correct now. And if you guys want an exact copy of this build, I highly recommend that after you finish watching this video, you go ahead and check out my vampire build. I released it prior to the update, and these weapons that I am currently using, and a couple of them that I was using even before these weapons, are insanely powerful. They almost all have blood loss buildup, which is insane. So if you want to apply a ton of bleed damage to your enemies, then this build might be for you, and these weapons are even going to be that much more for you. So obviously you're going to want to put a lot of attribute and points into leveling up your arcane if you want to make the weapons the best possible ones. Now I am going to talk about most of these are going to be like blood loss weapons. There's one that's not, and there's one weapon that I don't have. I decided to choose remembrance instead of that weapon, so I'm going to talk about that one at the very beginning, because I have already used all my mausoleums and I can't duplicate any more remembrances, and I did that a long time ago, way sooner than I probably should have, let's be honest. But let's go ahead and talk about the first one on the list, which I don't have, and that is going to be Margot's first sword. You're not going to be fighting him until you get to the capital city, and then you can go ahead and choose which one you would like your remembrance to be. And unfortunately I chose the other item instead of the sword, so my next playthrough I plan on picking up the sword. So that one does scale in arcane, and I believe it does scale on strength as well. I could be wrong about that because, well, let's be honest again, I don't have the weapon. I just know that it scales on arcane. Now that we got that one out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the three weapons that I do currently have in my inventory. And these things are ridiculously overpowered now, and I was able to walk through a Farum Lazula with no problem. I mean, I just walked through it today, killing dragons and pretty much anything that stood in my way with ease. It was ridiculous. So if you guys want these weapons and you want the rest of this build setup, then go ahead and check out that vampire build that I released a couple days prior to the update. I think it actually came out the same update or the same day as the patch, but I had recorded it like 2 days prior to it, so there's always that. I always record my videos in advance. So anyway, let's go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about the three weapons that I'm currently using in my build, and you guys need to try these as well. Now this isn't the lowest of the blood loss buildup weapons, and like I said earlier, most of these are going to cause blood loss buildup. There's only one that does not, but these three are what carried me through Farum Lazula with ease. So Eleanor's pole blade, this thing, ridiculous. I love this thing. The blood blade dance is a little bit slow as far as the special ability windup goes, but once it starts hitting things, it is ridiculously powerful and really fast. Plus you can use this thing like any other special ability, just in succession, in rapid succession, and it starts doing some really interesting things, and it adds a bloodhound step to the very end of the second time that you do it. So if you need to get out of a situation really quickly and you're surrounded by a ton of enemies really quickly, this thing can hugely get you out of the way. But anyway, this is a plus 10 weapon. You can see that my dexterity is at 66 and my arcane is at 66, and no, this is not my second playthrough. This is only my first. I did all the side things that I could potentially find, and know that I missed a ton of stuff, but I'm hoping that I can find it my second time through, or at least get my remembrances that I missed and chose the wrong things, and maybe get the right things for the second time. Whatever. So your blood loss, it might be a little bit less than mine if you're not currently at the same stats that I currently have, but this thing does a ton of damage and I really like it. And you can see that it applies fire, which is really nice. Now the same thing kind of happens with the Rivers of Blood. though its blood loss is a little bit less, not much, it's, you know, a few less. It does more damage barely in the physical and also a little bit more in the fire, so it's really nice. And it does, both of these weapons do scale on dex, but it has the B rating on the Rivers of Blood, which that's why we're getting a little bit more for the attack power with it, plus the base is a little bit better as well. And this thing, I love this. The corpse piler, can't stress how important this thing and how beneficial this has been getting through bosses very, very quickly, and especially in combination with the other two weapons that I'm using. This thing helps out so much. But yeah, plus 10, a blood loss of 77. This thing just shreds through bosses with ease. Now for the last one that I've been using recently is the Blood Uchi Katana. Now I know that I was asked this in previous videos and how I got it to be a Blood Uchi Katana, and quickly, you just need to go ahead and get yourself some way blades or wet blades, and that allows you to get affinities, and you can change them with your Ash of War, and then you're able to choose like sacred or holy or fire, poison, ice, whatever you would really like. Keen, regular, whatever. Strength, I think, is another option, but these are the ones that you can go ahead and get. I'm not going to show where you can get all of these wet blades from, but that allows you to get the affinities that you can choose from. I don't remember which one allows to choose the blood, and maybe you have to get all of them and it just adds it to it. I don't remember, but if you start collecting these or research for another video, then you'll be able to get that as that option as well. And you can apply that to any non-special item in the game. So if it's just a regular weapon, I'm going to talk about another one here in just a moment besides the Uchi Katana that can scale insanely high, and it's the highest blood loss weapon that I have, and it's not even fully maxed out, which makes even that weapon even that much more crazy. So but there's a reason that I don't use it versus the reason that I'm using the Uchi Katana. Now, I do love the Bloodhound step. With this one, it allows me to get in and out of any situation very, very, very quickly. So I can dodge back, and then slash a couple times, and then use the Bloodhound step to get in and out of situations really quickly. Blood loss at 114. Not too shabby. Technically, it should scale more on strength, but if you look at this thing, we're applying over 500 damage on physical power, which is nuts. And this thing could probably get that much more powerful if I start putting, you know, more dexterity, more strength into it. This thing is even gonna be that much more crazy. And I would love to dual wield these things, but unfortunately I didn't have a starting class as a samurai, so I haven't been able to do that. But I can't wait to try it on my next playthrough. But this is a huge go-to. So let's go ahead and talk about where you can go ahead and find those three weapons real quickly. The Uchi Katana can be found right away at the very beginning of the game, coming up to Death Touch Catacombs right here. You're gonna find it on a body on a ledge, if I remember right, and you can go ahead and just pick it up here. Pretty easy to go ahead and get your hands on really early in the game. The next one is going to be at the Second Church of America, which is going to be the Eleanor's Pole Blade. Now this one you can get as soon as you get into the Atlas Plateau area. You can just kind of V-line right towards it, get that. You're going to be invaded by an NPC and go ahead and kill them, and that's going to be your reward. Another one that I'm going to quickly talk about, which is going to be the Bloody Hallus. This is the location of it. Defeat the boss in an underground area, and once you defeat that boss, you're going to get that weapon, the Bloody Hallus. So we're going to go over that here in just a moment. And so I just wanted to show that off because it's right next door and you can pick up both those weapons right away. But unfortunately, the weapon that I really like to use, you can't get until you get to the mountaintops of the giants at the Church of Repose right here, and you find another NPC to go ahead and get it, and then it's yours for good. And since I got that weapon, it hasn't been in my inventory to at least be able to use, and I obtained this way prior to finishing the rest of the mountaintops of the giants. It is a little bit of a long way to get all the way there because you have to kind of run all the way around to get to it, but it is definitely worth it to go ahead and pick that up as soon as you get up there. Now, I was talking about the bloody Hellas before, so let's go ahead and show that weapon. If I can go ahead and find it real quickly, that one would be right here. It does have a blood loss of a 98. This one is a little bit different to get used to. Its special ability, the finesse, is tough for me to get used to. I think it's going to require some playing around with it, but it does a lot of attack power, especially with the physical there. Lots and lots of damage. I believe this is one of the only ones that I do have that has over 600 damage. Ridiculous, but the blood loss isn't quite over 100, and its weapon art to me is a little bit different. Now, the next one on the list, which is a weapon that I used even before I was really even using the Uchi Katana, is going to be a Guardian a sword spear. Now, you can pick these things up from pretty much any minor tree. As long as there's Guardians around, it should be really easy to go ahead and obtain. But yes, this thing has a ton of damage, and look at that blood loss buildup. That is absolutely nuts. And I really want to try this one with Seppuku. I think this thing would be way overpowered with it, and I might bring this to the end fight with me just to try it out. I'll have to see. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one, and this is the only one that doesn't have any blood loss on it, which is going to be the Executioner's Blade, and it should be right here somewhere, right there. But it is scaling on Arcane. It's more strength than dexterity, and I'm more of a dexterity build, but its special ability is really, really cool, but it doesn't have any type of blood loss, so that's probably my only disappointment with it. And it doesn't seem to do as much damage if you were to compare these side by side with whatever current level you're at, as compared to other things. Again, I'm more dexterity, and all the other weapons are dexterity, and this is the only real strength one, and that could be a huge reason why. And the last one that's going to be on the list is going to be the Sacred Spear. This one is really cool. I really like the Blood Boon Ritual. I just feel like in a boss encounter, this one isn't really mine as well. And again, this is also a strength weapon, but it does have that blood loss buildup. It's at 89, so it's pretty good. It has a lot of fire, just like the Eleanor's Pull Blade and also the Rivers of Blood. So I highly recommend that you guys go ahead and get this one. This is found when you kill the boss, the Blood Lord boss, and you can choose it as a remembrance. The only thing that I don't think I actually covered is where you can get the Executioner's Blade, the Executioner one. Get that up by Volcano Manor area. I can't remember the actual castle's name, but you find it up at here, the Shaded Castle. Fight the end boss up here, and that's your reward for killing it. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, then make sure that you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below. It would help me out a lot and is greatly appreciated. But until next time, YouTube, you guys keep doing what you're doing because you're already doing it, and you guys stay gaming.